But why is food such a struggle? I just don't get it. When I'm anxious, or particularly when I'm really stressed in my life, food is the first thing out the window or the first thing in the window. It is either or. I'm either binging or I'm just terrified of being ill. Trigger warning, the mentions of the word to do with emetophobia is mentioned. The S word is mentioned, guys. Click off if you don't want to listen, because to be honest, I was triggered as well. Please relate to this because I'm really struggling. In terms of food, right, I've mentioned and I've touched on binge eating, but this is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. In some cases it might seem, but I have always struggled with emetophobia, right? And I want to briefly touch on it today, because when I'm stressed, which I have been because of uni, and I've had so much to do, and still this week I have so much to do, it heightens everything else in my life, and the emetophobias creep back up, but in an extreme form, to the point where my binge eating is now kind of out the window, and it's now like, is this cooked? Is this going to be giving me any kind of food poisoning? And I'm taking like every precautionary measure that I can to ensure that I'm not going to be ill. And I think it's also because I have a really important music video shoot this week. And on top of that, on Tuesday this week, I am doing a like public talk speech thing I'm so nervous about. I'm representing the Girl Math podcast, guys. I can't believe I got invited to do this. Why me? I feel imposter syndrome, but it's on mental health. You're welcome to come. It's free tickets. I'm just talking on a panel of like 5 people. Yeah, emetophobia. So this kind of began when I was, since I remember, to be honest. I don't remember why I have this fear as extreme as I do, but growing up, it was very isolating because not many people that I knew had it. They didn't understand why. I remember going to a counsellor at school and being like, yeah, I'm terrified of sick, to the point where I wouldn't eat loads of different foods. I'd only stick to my safe foods. My safe foods consisted of plain pasta, carbs, basically things I knew that couldn't get me ill, I would eat. And I remember my mum used to tell me, I think I vaguely might have touched on this before, but my mum told me that I used to like cry and scream under the table when I ate dinner when I was younger. And looking back, I genuinely believe that I was terrified of food, and I can't put my finger on it. It's probably something I need therapy for. I cannot lie to you guys, but I don't think it's ever going to go away. Like, I don't think it's ever going to go away, because I can be on 2 ends of the spectrum and it's so extreme, to the point where it's like, yeah, I'll binge eat, but then the next like time that I'm stressed, I'm going to be anxious about food and like, I won't be able to eat it. So it's weird. But granted, I probably do binge on the foods that are safe foods for me. I don't really binge on like chickens and meats that I know could get me ill. Don't even get me started on chicken. Oh my god, the fact that I can't. I used to get takeaway a lot with my boyfriend. Like, we used to get delivery a lot, but now I just can't eat it. I just can't deal with the fact of knowing that someone else has cooked my food and not knowing if it's safe. Like, we went out for breakfast today, for example, and I only had egg salmon on toast with avocado, and I was like, I just had a, like, is this egg cracked in any way? Like, has it gone off? Like, I just don't know why I had this whole like panic attack. And then I started feeling ill myself. I was like, this is all in my head. What am I doing? So yeah, I definitely can notice that it's at a bad point at the moment, but I'm aware that it's because I'm so stressed in my day-to-day life anyway. There's not much I can do about it right now. There's not much I can do about it apart from just eat my safe foods for now and see how I go. But I know that it comes in waves, but it's not necessarily temporary. It just comes in extreme waves, if that makes sense. Like, emetophobia, it's never been something that's just gone, oh, bye, like, I'm never going to suffer with this anymore. It's more so just been like, okay, this year's been quite manageable with it. And then if I have, say, a trigger, for example, I've been feeling a lot more sick recently, and I think feeling sick is a lot to do in the head more than it is reality for me personally. Like, I feel sick right now. I feel nauseous right now. I think there's a difference between feeling nauseous and then feeling like stomach sick. Feeling nauseous, if I ever feel nauseous, it's always because I haven't drank enough water, I haven't put enough salt in my body, I'm low in iron, or I haven't slept enough, or I'm stressed, or I'm just anxious. Very rarely is it the case that I will actually, be ill. So the times that my stomach feels off, for example, that's something I can't control, and that's when I start panicking, like, a lot. So yeah, I guess it's just differentiating what kind of sick it feels like. Some kind of life hack that I found recently for feeling ill is Andrew salts. If you search that up, I think they might have renamed it, but it's a type of salt that you put in water and it balances out your pH, like, in your stomach. Because I often find that when my stomach's unsettled, it's because it's too acidic, and I believe that this one balances that out for alkaline. I'm not really sure, and it literally fixes me in 10 minutes. Even if I'm like unwell on the toilet or whatever, it can sort me out. So I definitely recommend getting Andrew salts if you're in the UK or wherever. I don't know what it's called now, but if you search up, it'll come up. But yeah, that is what I've been kind of resorting to, and that's my coping mechanism. But if I'm out and I feel this kind of way, I'm like, get me home, get me in my bed where I am not surrounded by people right now. And that kind of made me realize, is my emetophobia triggered with people around, or is it just a deeper rooted thing? Obviously in my head I'm like, no, it's a deeper rooted thing, but it's definitely enhanced when I'm around people or out, which is weird. And that's the same goes with like feeling like I'm gonna faint recently. That's definitely a massive thing, but I definitely think that's stress. Like, when I lay it all out, it just sounds like I have a lot of problems, but like I just do. So like, I'm not gonna beat around the bush, like, I'm just an anxious mess. And I feel like if you're an anxious mess, you deal with every single thing in the world. Like, it just comes to you because it's in your head as well. But it feels so real, and that's what's so scary. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, trying to determine if it's in my head or if it's legit is really hard most of the time. But yeah, anyways, kind of diverted there, but going back to like growing up with it, I was a very skinny child, but I don't know if that was because I had a really high metabolism or I just generally just didn't eat because I was so scared of food. I also think that the fear of throwing up and binge eating, I don't know if that's related, and it can't be, but like, I don't get it. I know they're probably completely different things, but why is food such a struggle? I just don't get it. When I'm anxious, or particularly when I'm really stressed in my life, food is the first thing out the window or the first thing in the window. It is either or. I'm either binging or I'm just terrified of being ill, that I can't just be normal. I just can't just be normal. Like, it just because I see my boyfriend coping just fine. I can't. For example, I'll order Nando's, and every time I take a bite out of the wrap or out of the chicken, every single piece of chicken, I have to check if it's cooked, even if it's the slightest bit pink. In the bin. Can't eat it. And like, I don't want to waste food, obviously, but a wise friend once told me, if you're panicking over the food that much, it's not worth eating it, because you're going to be panicking the rest of the time it's in your system. Do you know what I mean? Also, mint tea is your best friend. Oh my god, mint tea or ginger teas, any kind of herbal tea is great if you're feeling ill. It's kind of like my safety net. But yeah, I also think with this fear of sick, it's so I've realized I probably have said the word, okay, trigger warning, I probably have said the word sick throughout this thing, so I'm really sorry. I guess it's just easier to describe, but I might just say it from now on because it's easier. But my fear of sick is so bad that it affects every area of my life. I can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna go out tonight. I never ever drink alcohol. I've drank it, but not to the point where I've had more than one glass of alcohol. Do you know what I mean? it's always been, okay, 2 max. When I was younger, probably was a bit silly, but it would never be extreme because of the fear of being sick. So I can't just go out like normal people and be like, yeah, let's get drunk. Like, no, that is not me. You will never catch me drunk. Oh my God. I probably was when I was younger, as I said, but not now. So that is crazy to me. I do think the time that my emetophobia and anything is out the window is when I'm severely depressed and I don't really care. Like, okay, I feel like this kind of is deep, but when I'm anxious, when I have anxiety, it just means I care about my life a bit too much. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like I had a friend recently that came to me and was like, Corey, I just can't help but say this and that and think this and that. And I'm like, you know what? You can't worry about things that aren't in your control. Do you know what I mean? And half of the things of me worrying about going out and being sick or fainting or whatever it is, I can't control that. I can't. If I'm out and that happens, it happens. I can't stop it. It's just is what it is. And maybe the deeper rooted thing of emetophobia is just not being in control. But I wish I kind of knew the science behind it. I guess I just wanted to briefly touch on it today because it's current in my life. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely probably will make a proper episode on it. But this is just touching on it. But yeah, I couldn't tell you why. Also, it's got so bad that I have to sleep separately to my boyfriend now. And it's not anything to do with him. It's literally when I feel ill in any kind of way, when I'm stressed with this uni stuff, when I've got a lot on every day, I don't want to be around anyone. I want to be in my own bed by myself. And I mean anyone. I can't have him in my vicinity because it then heightens my anxiety because I'm afraid that he's going to see me be sick, or I don't know what it is. But I see these things online. It's like, you can treat emetophobia if you get the right therapy. I'm like, can you? Because Jesus Christ, I get some triggering things that come back up and I'm like, nope. I'm even scared to say that I haven't thrown up since I was about 8 years old. I'm even scared to say that because I'm like, no, because now I've said it into existence, like it might happen. So yeah, that I haven't thrown up for a long time. Touch wood, guys, and it's scary. Maybe that's partly the reason why it's so exaggerated, because I haven't in a while, but I did have a bit of a scare the other week. Actually, I felt like I ate something weird, and thing is, my body, I was literally about to, but my body said no. It was like, stay the hell down there, you're not coming up. And I was fine, but I felt ill for days after. And I told myself in my head it's because I ate dodgy rice. And I then can't differentiate if it's in my head or if it's, because if I wanted to, if I needed to, it would happen. Do you know what I mean? But why did it not, when I was like literally so close? Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to go into detail because obviously I'm talking about emetophobia here, but yeah, I think also at that point in time, I opened like the windows and like put a fan on me. That really helped me. But yeah, ever since then, I've not been the same. And it's quite frankly quite freaky. I don't know. I can't. I hate it so much. And obviously everyone's like, but no, like being sick is never nice. Do you know what I mean? But when I'm like, oh, I have a fear of sick, and everyone's like, oh, same. Yeah, it's like, but you throw up like every weekend you go out on a night out, when you go drinking, like you don't have a fear of sick. Come on, if you did have fear of sick, you wouldn't be drinking. You would avoid every possible scenario that would become that outcome. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, that also gets to me. I'm like, but does anyone actually have a fear of sick here? Is it just me? Because like, oh my God, it takes over my life. It generally does. And I wish I knew the answer. So if anyone does, let me know. But I might be completely alone in this. I have no idea. But yeah, terrified of this week. Terrified. Because in my head, I'm like, oh my God, at this talk on Tuesday that I'm doing, or in this music video that I'm directing, what if I just... Why What if I just, like, what if that happens? And in my head, I'm like, you can't think like that. You just can't. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to die from it. I can't give any advice because I don't know. I've been dealing with this for a long, long time. So yeah. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. And I'm going to go to sleep. Because I have had a stressful few weeks. I'm sorry if I've not made any sense. I generally feel like throughout writing my dissertation, I haven't Englished. I have not Englished. My brain, when it's overloaded, just can't function at all. So sorry if this didn't make any sense. I hope you like my sign though. Bye guys.